Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission today, well, it takes us back to a dusty street in Alexandria, summer of '54. We're looking into how a series of mysterious fires, seemingly random, ended up exposing this huge international espionage plot. It all starts not with a bang, but maybe more like a sizzle. And the key, believe it or not, a pair of glasses. Or rather, the case they came in.
That's right. We're talking about Alexandria, Egypt, July 1954. It's a really volatile time just after the 52 revolution. Nasser's in power, trying to, stabilize things, build bridges with the West.
So a spectacle case becomes the linchpin in unraveling one of the biggest intelligence scandals of the century. How does that happen?
Well, you have to understand the context. This wasn't just about setting fires. It was a deliberate, sophisticated operation aimed squarely at destroying the diplomatic ties Egypt was building, specifically with Britain and the U.S.
So geopolitical sabotage hiding behind arson.
Exactly. It was a major play. The goal wasn't just internal damage. It was about shifting global alliances, using fear and confusion to drive a wedge between Egypt and the West.
That's a massive goal for setting fires. Did the timing matter?
Oh, absolutely crucial. This kicked off right after Nasser signed the evacuation agreement with Britain, a huge deal signifying, the end of British military presence.
Right, a new era for Egyptian sovereignty.
Precisely. And for certain powers, this new cooperation, this détente, was a threat. So staging attacks that looked like they came from Egyptian extremists, that was seen as the quickest way to derail the whole thing, keep Egypt isolated.
Okay, so the stakes are incredibly high. Let's dive into the events on the ground. It starts, as you said, July 1954. An alert goes out. There's been a big fire at the Egyptian post office in Alexandria.
Yeah, and initially, no clear cause. People thought maybe faulty wiring, an accident, the usual explanations.
But the investigators weren't buying it.
Not entirely. They did a thorough sweep, and inside one of the damaged mailboxes, they found something odd. 2 plastic containers. And inside them, a strange black powder.
Okay, that's suspicious.
And right there with them, this very distinctive, rather expensive-looking spectacle case.
A spectacle case? That seems weirdly specific. Why leave something like that?
Well, maybe overconfidence, or maybe it was essential to the device itself. But the forensics confirmed it wasn't an accident. The post office staff knew nothing, the addresses were fake, and that black powder.
What about it?
It wasn't just gunpowder, it was a complex chemical mix designed for, a delayed ignition, probably using acid, the kind of thing meant to burn away completely, confuse the initial investigation, make it look accidental.
Okay, so definitely deliberate. But maybe they thought it was, I don't know, some kind of local group with sophisticated methods.
Possibly at first, but then less than 2 weeks later, the whole thing escalated dramatically. The target profile shifted.
How so?
July 23rd. Same MO, but this time it wasn't the post office. A huge fire breaks out at the American Cultural Center in Alexandria. Serious damage, thousands of pounds worth.
And let me guess what they found in the ashes.
You got it. Another spectacle case, same exact type and traces of that same black powder residue.
Wow. Okay. The pattern is undeniable now.
But wait, it gets even more alarming. The same night, hours later, miles away in Cairo, another fire. Same method, same target type. The American Cultural Center there.
3 fires, 2 cities, identical methods, targeting foreign cultural institutions. Okay, this has to be setting off major alarm bells in Egyptian intelligence.
Absolutely. Now, they knew they were dealing with something big, something international. The goal seemed clear. Make it look like Egyptians were attacking American interests, maybe British ones next. Wreck those relationships Nasser was building.
What do they do?
They put out an urgent nationwide bulletin detailing the method, the chemicals, and especially that unique spectacle case. Every security officer was told, watch for this. They needed a break fast.
And the break came. It sounds almost like something out of a movie.
It really does. A regular security patrol walking down Alateran Street in Alexandria. They see a guy leaving the Aero Cinema. But he's not just walking out. There's smoke. Actual smoke. Billowing from his clothes.
You're kidding. His clothes were on fire.
Smoldering, burning, yes. And as the officers rush over, one of them remembers the bulletin. And right there, discarded near the guy, the spectacle case. And you could even see traces of the black powder on the ground nearby.
Incredible. So the device malfunctioned. Went off too early.
Seems like it. The man, they identified him as Philip, Jewish, an Egyptian citizen. He tries to run, yelling it was just an accident, bad luck.
But with the case and the powder right there.
Exactly. They weren't buying it. He was taken into custody immediately.
So Philip's denying everything, sticking to the accident story. What happens next?
Well, while he's being interrogated, another team gets a warrant and searches his home.
Wait.
And that's when the whole case just explodes. They find a fully equipped, hidden laboratory for making bombs, explosives, gunpowder, advanced chemical compounds, stuff you just couldn't get in Egypt back then.
So he wasn't just carrying the device. He was involved in making them. This confirms the foreign connection, right?
Absolutely. State-sponsored level resources. And then inside his place, they find a photograph. Philip with 2 other men.
Which led to more arrests.
Very quickly. The rest of the local cell started to fall. But even as they were piecing this together, there were more attacks happening. A railway warehouse in Alexandria. The Rivoli cinema in Cairo. Same methods. The network was bigger and still active.
This must have pushed it way beyond simple arson investigation.
Oh, definitely. Egyptian intelligence took full control. They saw the big picture now. The timing right after the evacuation agreement, the target's foreign, strategic, it all pointed to one thing, a deliberate attempt to provoke a crisis between Egypt and the West.
So how did they get to the top? Philip gave up his superior.
Under pressure, yes. He named his direct contact, Samuel Azar. Azar was arrested, and he apparently confessed laying out the whole 6-person network structure.
But who was pulling their strings? The ringleader.
That came from a seemingly small detail found during the searches. A medical prescription. From a Dr. Paul at the Israeli hospital in Cairo.
And Dr. Paul was?
Dr. Moussa Marzouk. He was identified as the operational leader on the ground in Egypt.
A doctor, working openly in Cairo, leading a sabotage ring. What was his motivation?
Sources suggest Marzouk was driven by, well, a very strong ideology, the idea of the promised land. He apparently believed that propaganda wasn't enough, that Egypt's Jewish population needed a scare, a push through acts of terror to make them emigrate to Israel.
So he wasn't just recruited, he was an active proponent of this kind of violent action.
It seems so. He reportedly impressed a female agent, Marcel Nino, she was later arrested too, who then connected him with a Mossad officer known only as Abdu Dakan. They saw his, let's say, fierce loyalty and his destructive potential.
And his plans targeting British and American sites, they were approved.
This is where it gets really alarming. According to the information that came out later, yes. His plans, his targets, were apparently approved very high up in Israel's defense establishment. We're talking Moshe Dayan, the chief of staff at the time, and Shimon Peres, who is director general of the Ministry of Defense.
Wow. So chief of staff, director general of Moider, they signed off on this.
The operation, codenamed Operation Suzanna, was run by military intelligence. Apparently, it bypassed the head of Mossad and, crucially, the actual Minister of Defense, Pinhas Lavon, who reportedly had serious reservations. He worried that if it blew up, it would destroy relations with the U.S. and U.K.
But they went ahead anyway.
They did, knowing the risks.
And then it all unraveled because of a Burning Man and a spectacle case. What was the immediate fallout?
Well, Marzouk confessed everything once the network collapsed. Egypt, understanding the huge diplomatic implications, published these confessions widely. They wanted to prove to the U.S., to Britain, look, this wasn't us, this wasn't random terror, this was state-sponsored sabotage by Israel.
And this whole scandal became known as
the Lavon Affair. Named after Pinhas Lavon, the defense minister who, despite his reported objections, ended up taking the fall and was forced to resign. It caused a massive political crisis in Israel.
What happened to the agents themselves? Marzouk and Azar.
They were sentenced to death and executed. Other members of the cell got long prison sentences. Marcel Nino, the agent who initially connected with Marzouk, got 15 years.
Was she released eventually?
Yes, she was part of a prisoner exchange after the 1967 war.
So looking back at this whole thing, a plan to wreck international peace, maybe even provoke intervention, all comes crashing down because of one small distinctive clue, that spectacle case.
It's incredible, isn't it, how something so small could expose an operation involving such high-level figures willing to risk so much.
And you mentioned Marcelino being released. Is there more to that story?
There is. And it's perhaps the final, undeniable confirmation of how high up the knowledge of this operation went, despite all the official denials that followed the Lavon Affair.
Go on.
Years later, after Nino was released and back in Israel, she got married. And her wedding guests. It wasn't just friends and family, high-ranking military officials, top political figures, including Moshe Dayan himself, and even Golda Meir, who was foreign minister by then.
So the very people implicated in approving or knowing about Operation Suzanna attended her wedding, publicly.
Their presence was seen by many as a clear, if unspoken, signal, a confirmation that, Yes, the top brass knew all about Operation Suzanna, regardless of what was said officially during the scandal.
That's quite a statement. It leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? What does it tell you about the hidden layers of international relations when an operation like this, so destructive, so risky, gets greenlit in the shadows by military leaders, then publicly denied by the government, only for the real truth to sort of seep out years later at a wedding? Something to think about next time a confusing international incident hits the news.